r/AskReddit by Reddify. Teachers of Reddit. What's something you overheard, but you wish you didn't? My friend teaches at a Catholic middle school. He said he once overheard a girl telling her friends she intended to pretend to be pregnant in order to keep her boyfriend from breaking up with her. When he asked her where she got such a manipulative idea, she said, "It worked for my mom." I worked with middle schoolers for exactly 1 year. When the 11-year-old yelled, "Eat the booty like groceries," when I asked him what his favorite food was, I knew that middle school wasn't for me. I guess it isn't that I overheard it, but I really like to keep up with the kids' personal lives. Over the years they grow to trust me, and every once in a while, a student drops a huge bomb on me that makes me feel quite helpless for a while. Things like, my parents are getting divorced this week and neither one wants me. Or my sister got killed trying to stop a fight. Or I hate my friends, and I hate myself for liking them. But I don't want to be alone. I do my best for them. My mom says I'm too stupid to spell. I was helping one of my first graders catch up on a spelling test. He was one of my problem kids. But I always spent extra time helping him out, because I used to be one, too. On this particular day he was getting really worked up. I finally flipped the test over and had the worst conversation. "Kid, I can't do this. I'm too stupid." "Me, you can to do this." "I know you can. Let's spell it out really slowly together." "Kid, no. I can't. I'm an idiot." "Me, name. Why are you saying that? Who told you that?" "Kid, my mom says I'm too stupid to spell." "Me, that's not true. We are friends." "Yeah?" "Kid, best friends." "Me, okay. Then you know I won't lie to you. You are one of the smartest kids I know. What else does your mom say?" And that's how I found out a 7-year-old boy was being physically and emotionally abused. I reported it, but left the school before I found out what came. One student telling his friend he's changed his university applications to go to the same uni as his girlfriend. Terrible move. I had a high school senior come to school in the morning straight from the club. Still all glitter covered and in a mostly unbuttoned button down. Except it wasn't totally straight from the club. He let it slip that he had gone home with a woman in her 40s at 5 in the morning. And stayed long enough for her to make her kids and me breakfast. Not a teacher, but in high school was telling a buddy of mine I hate math and that I'm just going to be a porn star. Teacher heard me and she looked over and said, "You're going to starve." I replied, "I'll have plenty to eat on the job." She laughed but probably wished she never heard it. That he doesn't like it when mom gives massages in the basement because he can hear everything. On my first 2-week observation internship I was at the back of the class just taking things in. Overheard one student tell another she knew where to get ketamine. I froze and didn't know what to do. I ended up doing nothing. I was only there to observe, and I had literally just started the program. I think I made a mistake. Former college professor here. Oh my god. How do you get your parents to pay you $25,000 a month? Mine only pay me $10,000. Students whispering to each other about how they have absolutely no idea what I was talking about, even though that was my third attempt of trying to explain the same thing to them. A junior boy telling his buddies he gave the old lady a pap smear the other night. Shudder. This happened last year in an alternative education class I was supplying in. This was a regular high school that just happened to offer an alternative program to some students. A girl was talking about how much school she skipped last year. The guy she is talking to goes, "I missed a lot of days as well, but that's because I spent 2 months in a correctional institute." I'm a teacher's aide. 2 students in a certain class make lewd comments about my body to each other regularly. Administration doesn't do much about it. I've sent them to the principal a few times already. I don't have much power to do anything, so I just kind of tune it out now. The building in the school in which I taught had only one staff toilet, so if it was occupied we had to use the student toilets. In one such instance, I'm in my cubicle when a student walks into the loo room and into another cubicle. What I heard next was the most awful sounding dump, but not too out of the ordinary. It's what he said whilst doing it that shook me up. Screaming as if in pain. He shouted things to the effect of Jesus Christ. I deserve this torment. Punish me for my sins. Punish me for my salvation. I bear pain in your name. And other fucked up religious stuff. No idea what was going on. It didn't sound like a kink from the tone. But I remember thinking that, if we ever had a school shooting, there was no doubt it would be that guy. That one of my 14-year-old students attended a visit to her sister sugar daddy while she got their rent paid. Edit, for clarification. The student's sister had a sugar daddy. She went to fuck the guy for rent money and brought my student along. I once used the word gangbangers in a class of freshman boys. I was referring to inner city drug gangs. When almost the entire class started furiously giggling, I immediately regretted my choice of words. I'm not naive. I know most, if not all of my students have watched hardcore porn. I just didn't need to be reminded of that fact when I'm trying to talk with them about urban gang crime. Not a teacher, but my mom was. She sometimes had to do bus/car pickup duty to make sure kids got their proper rides home. One of the school's nightmare parents was at the car pickup just being a complete ass to her unfavorite child, who couldn't take it and started to cry. He sobbingly asked her why he couldn't go live with his dad. That way, she wouldn't have to be always mad at him anymore. Because he wants you. She huffed, slammed the car door, and drove off. Not being able to get that parent on any of her crap remained one of my mom's big regrets. Not a teacher, but I was on the bus home when a few high school students came and sat behind me. And one kid says to the other, I think I must be cold-blooded because I'm cold all the time. Her friend says back to her, of course you're cold-blooded. You're a mammal. All mammals are cold-blooded. I have never wanted to give up more in my life. Not a teacher, but a student in health class freshman year. This girl, that was a junior, was talking about sucking dick and said this guy told me to suck his dick. And I said hell no, that shit looks like a elephant ear. She said the guy offered to hold the skin back and the teacher loudly said stop. I'm a lunch aide at a middle school. The company I work for says we are also teachers. Although I call bullshit on that. But anyways, working in a middle school with 8th and 9th graders, you hear a lot of vulgar things. I've learned to just ignore the shit they say. I had one student put a banana in the zipper of his pants and tell his friends at the table to unpeel his banana and take a fucking bite. Also heard a guy call this girl a super cunt. I pretend like I don't hear them. I've even told students that, as long as they don't say it in front of the principal, I don't care. But if the principal hears and asks me to point them out, I'm not gonna lie about it. One student was extremely talkative and sharing a lot of info that I did not need to know. They asked to go to the bathroom and I was relieved I could stop hearing about their stories. When they returned 35 minutes later, I don't ask what took them so long, they just casually state, sorry I took so long sir. I dropped my underwear in the toilet. Me, okay. My mom always told me to be prepared, so I had a backup in my locker. Me, okay. It was gross having to fish my underwear out of the toilet. Me, okay thanks you. Please focus on your work. I would not want to come back to class with wet underwear. Me, alright. Other students started chiming in, and they talked about it for a while. Note, I'm a supply teacher. Obligatory, not me, but my wife, who overheard two 7th grade girls, aged 12, talking about eating ass in the cafeteria at 7:30 in the morning. My friend was a sub for a few years in a high school class. He overheard a girl giving another girl one of her birth control pills. I wonder if they both got pregnant. I'm not a teacher, but when I was in 7th grade I wore the same shirt 3 days in a row. My friend next to me said if I was poor because I didn't have clothes, and I told him to shut up. My teacher looked at me, and when I made eye contact she looked away. It was so embarrassing. The next day she asked me if everything was fine, and I said yeah, I just really like and justice for all. There was blood *EVERYWHERE*. Kid's dad had attacked mum's new boyfriend and the boyfriend kicked the shit out of him and tried to slash his throat. Week 2 into my teacher training. Is your wife a Labrador? In my health class, once the teacher asked us what coitus interruptus was, and a kid shouted it's when you bout to bust and you pull out. That teacher was weird though. She told us about the biggest dick she ever saw. Told us how her 4-year-old liked to show off his erections. And told my parents she thought I was depressed because I kept falling asleep in a first period class that I had a 100 average in. Not a teacher, but overheard that a few years ago a middle schooler in the back of class had his pants around his ankles while furiously beating his meat to the teacher. They were making eye contact. She was in shock. He was making a mess under the table. Of course. He was expelled.